Hello! Welcome to the Web Security and Bug Bounty course. Now, you've already seen the promo video and you kind of know what this course is about, but in this video, we want to do a full course outline so that you know exactly what we're going to learn so that you have a clear path to success and what this course is going to give you. Now, one thing to keep in mind is that this course isn't just for ethical hackers or penetration testers. We've made this course so that anybody that's interested in web security can learn from it. So if you are a web developer that wants to improve their web app security, well, this course is for you as well. And obviously, if you want to become a bug bounty hunter or a penetration tester, well, this course is definitely for you as well. All right, let's get into actually what the course is going to look like for you. Right off the bat, we're going to start off by creating what we call our virtual lab. This is a hacking lab to make sure that we keep our computers safe throughout the course, and we can do different sorts of attacks and experiments on them. And this course is going to work with any type of system that you have. Linux, Windows, Mac OS, everything's going to work because we're going to set up this virtual lab for you. From there, we're going to learn about enumeration and information gathering. This is where we actually start with the bug bounty and website penetration testing. We cover numerous topics and tools that allow us to gather as much information about a certain website as possible. From there, we get into introducing you to Burp Suite. And this is a very important tool of a bug hunter. And it will set us up for a lot of the topics that we cover later in the course. We then get into our first bug. And this first bug on a website, we're going to talk about HTML injection. It's one of the easier bugs to find and use, so this is where we start. But then we get into more complex topics. For example, we're going to talk about command injections and execution. This is an extremely dangerous bug where we can inject commands through an input and affect a server or a system. We then talk about broken authentication. What happens when authentication on a website is not done properly? Well, we can take advantage of it, and we're going to show you how to do that. And we're going to use different examples to things like cookie values, HTTP requests, forgot password page, and a lot more. We then get into brute force attacks. Even if a website is secure, if we as testers have an easy and simple password set, then it's also going to be easy for us to guess it using what we call brute force attacks. And we're going to show you how to prevent brute force attacks as well as show you how they work. We then talk about broken access control. Access control enforces policies such as what user can and cannot do, or intended permissions for a user. When that access control is broken, well, we can take advantage of it. Then we dive into what we call cross-site scripting. This is a very common attack, and we're going to talk about all three main types of cross-site scripting, which are stored, reflected, and DOM-based cross-site scripting. Then we dive into one of the most common ways that you can affect a system, and probably one of the bigger vulnerabilities that always comes up, and that is SQL injection. This is where we're able to access or manipulate the database. This is probably one of the most important sections, and again, we're going to talk about how we can use it and also how to prevent it. I know we have a lot, there's still a few more. In this section, we're going to talk about XML data and how we can use XXC or XML external entity, where it allows an attacker to interfere with a website that processes XML data. Finally, we talk about the idea of insufficient logging and monitoring. You see, to have proper security, you need to have proper logging and monitoring to keep track of all the requests and information that a page might go through, because this can help us determine whether a certain attack is taking place or not. If we don't know an attack is taking place, well, then we're just not going to notice it. So this is another important topic that we left towards the end of the course. But then probably why you're taking this course and the most exciting part is right here, the bug hunting. So we're going to talk about how to monetize bug hunting. How can you become an independent researcher that tests websites and perhaps collects bug bounty? Everything that we've learned in this course, we're going to show you how you can monetize this knowledge. And we're going to talk to you about different platforms that you can use to start a career as a bug hunter, if that's something that you want to do. Finally, this course is meant for anybody with any sort of programming knowledge. As a matter of fact, you can take this course without any programming knowledge. We include bonus material for web developer fundamentals, bonus material on Linux and how to use the Linux terminal, and even networking. The idea is to take you from zero to mastery. Finally, this course, well, you're in good hands because Alexa is a penetration tester with many years of experience, and he's actually worked on discovering vulnerabilities for multiple companies and government systems. He's going to show you from his professional standpoint how all of these work and how you can actually apply these in real life. It's going to be a ton of fun. And the final thing I want to talk about is our community that we have. When you join this course, as always, as part of the Zero to Mastery community, you get to join our private online Discord where we're chatting with people every day, helping each other out, solving problems, doing challenges together, and feeling like you're part of a classroom. You're going to find myself and Alexa on there every day chatting, and we have a dedicated channel just for this course so that you get to meet other classmates. All right. That's enough talk. I think it's time to get started. Let's dive into the course and let's learn all about web security.
Hello and welcome to the course. Now, the best way that we can start this is by explaining what even is penetration testing. Most of you will know this, but let's still cover it as a refresher at least. So, whether we're talking about network penetration testing or website penetration testing or something as simple as a single device penetration testing, all of this has the same part inside of their name: penetration testing. So, what is it? Well, we can refer to it as an action that we apply to enumerate and discover new vulnerabilities, as well as exploit them and take control of our target system. Now, most of you might or might not know, but penetration testing is constructed of a couple of stages. Let's say we have our hacking machine on the left, and the target device that we're trying to gain access to is on the right. This device can be anything, from a PC to a mobile phone to a website application. It doesn't really matter, the process of penetration testing goes the same. We start off with gathering information. We want to know as much about our target as possible. Why? Well, this allows us to better plan out our attack later on. Gathering information can be done both actively and passively. Active information gathering is gathering information by interacting with the target, while passive information gathering means that we get all of our information without ever interacting with the target in any way. For example, we can get information about Facebook by Googling it and reading about it on another site like Wikipedia. That is considered passive information gathering. After this comes scanning. Now, scanning is a deeper form of information gathering, and it's done actively, which means we directly interact with the target in order to find out more information about it. Usually, this will be the information of technical nature, like what technologies does the target run, what is their website made of if they have one, which ports do they have open, and so on and so on. We finish scanning by performing vulnerability analysis. Vulnerability analysis is just us finding security holes in the target system with the help of information that we gathered. After that, we can successfully exploit the target by using different methods and attacks. These are the main steps to penetration testing. There are other steps, of course, that come after, like maintaining access on the target machine and covering tracks, but these steps that we mentioned are crucial. Now that we covered and went through the basic steps of penetration testing and what those steps are, we can also say that penetration testing can be divided into two main groups. We got network penetration testing, which could, for example, be, let's say, a company gives you their IP ranges of their networks, and we're supposed to perform a penetration test on all of their devices to see if there are any security issues. Those devices could be anything from computers, mobile phones, to printers. And For the second group, we can say that it's website application penetration testing. Here we perform various different attacks to determine whether the website that we are attacking is properly coded and secured. And website penetration testing is something that we will put the most focus on inside of this course. This is because this field is becoming bigger and bigger every single day, due to millions and millions of websites that are online and available right now on the internet. The search for people to secure and protect them is rising every day. You might have also heard of a term called bug bounty. This is pretty much the same thing. It's mostly referring to discovering bugs, or also known as vulnerabilities, inside a web page. And bug bounty is something that we'll discuss a little bit more in the next video, but before we get to it, let's mention what are the two main things we need to perform bug bounty or website penetration testing. So we will need a virtual machine and a vulnerable web page. Now, we will install a virtual machine to create our own hacking lab or environment that we will use to perform all of our attacks. But as you may notice, to be able to perform a penetration test on a website, we will need a website, right? Luckily, there are many vulnerable web pages that we can run within our local network on a virtual machine that are useful for practicing different attacks and discovering different bugs. And that is also why we need to cover virtual machines. Now, don't worry, we will cover installing all of these. From installing our own machine that we will use to hack, to installing machines with a vulnerable web page. And trust me, it's not that hard as it might sound like. Nonetheless, now that we mentioned some basics of penetration testing, let's discuss bug bounty in the next video. See you there. Welcome back. Let's discuss bug bounty a little bit. We mentioned it in the previous video, but what exactly is it? There is one thing that we know. It has nothing to do with the real bugs. Bug bounty or hunting for bugs is mostly referred as discovering vulnerabilities in a web page. Now, you can hunt for bugs in applications and other type of programs, but usually when someone says bug hunting or bug bounty, it's referred to as a website bug or a vulnerability. Now, these vulnerabilities can be anything from password vulnerabilities. Maybe they are not encrypted well and the attacker can easily break them. Or perhaps there is a database vulnerability and the attacker can extract all of the information from the database, including usernames, passwords, emails, and other personal information that shouldn't be public. Some vulnerabilities can also target not only websites, but client devices as well. By this, I mean that there are vulnerabilities that could also be dangerous for the client that visits a vulnerable web page. But don't worry, all of this is something that we will talk about in the course, and we will explain how all of these attacks work. For now, it's important that we mention what do we need before we even start hacking. So the first thing that we want to do is to create a virtual environment. And this is something that we mentioned in the previous video. We want to create a virtual machine that we will use for hacking. This will be our own personal machine that we're strictly going to use to run different tools and perform different attacks. But we will also be installing vulnerable virtual machines that are running a web page that we can attack and that we can practice on. Why, you might be asking? Well, we can't just target any website without permission. That is why we're going to create our own machine with a website that we can attack as much as we want. Second thing that we must get used to is Kali Linux. Now, Kali Linux is an operating system the penetration testers use. You probably already know it, but we're going to use it inside of this course. It is a Linux-based operating system that comes with a bunch of useful tools that a hacker needs. Out of all of that, the most important thing for us to learn is to introduce ourselves with basic command line usage inside of Linux. Don't worry, it will be nothing too advanced, we just want to cover the basics. And the last but not least, we need some basic website structure knowledge. We need to understand the basics of website development just so we can understand the attacks better. For this, we need to know what different programming languages in web development are used for, and we need to recognize them. So we will briefly cover HTML, JavaScript, PHP, and SQL. Why do we need to cover this? Well, most of these attacks are based on injecting code from these programming languages. But let's not confuse ourselves right now. We will talk about that when the time comes. Right now, I want to show you a quick little bug that is easy to perform, yet it's still considered a small vulnerability. Just so I can give you an insight on how easy can it be to sometimes discover a bug. So here I am on a web page that I'm running inside of my local network, and we can see that this web page right here performs a simple task. It asks us to enter the background color that we would like to see. Whatever color we enter, the background will change color. So for example, if I type red and set background color, nothing will change because it tells us to enter the color in this format. And it even gives us an example. Now this is not important for us, so let's just copy the example for the red color and let's paste it right here. If we set background color, wow, it changes to red. But is this the only thing that this web page can perform? What if we, for example, try to inject HTML code inside of this input right here? Well, let's give it a try. The most simple HTML code that we can enter is h1, which stands for header size 1, and then test. And then we close the tags for the header. Don't worry if you don't know this, we will cover this as well. And if I set background color, it tells me the current background color is test. Just by looking at this, I can already tell that this is a bug in this web page. You might not be able to tell it right now, but by the end of the course, recognizing these bugs will become second nature for you. So, what did I notice here? Well, we typed some text in the size of a header 1, and it seems that this website or web page executed it. It read it as an HTML code, and it printed our text in size of header 1. Even if we try to, for example, underline by using U inside of the HTML tags and using header 1 and then typing test again, then we close header 1 and close underline tags. We click set background color. Well, now we got our text written in size header 1 and also underlined. And this is called HTML injection. This is a bug where the web page allows you to input HTML code in some user input field, which in this case is this background color field, and the web page will process it as HTML code. So we can conclude that this user input is not filtered well. If this is too overwhelming for now, don't worry, we will explain all of this in details later in the course. I just wanted to show you a cool little bug that is so easy to find, yet it is discoverable in so many websites that are currently online. Now, enough of talking. Now that we explained bug bounty a little bit, let's get straight into setting up our virtual environment. See you in the next video.